शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वलोक्योपशान्तये। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ दशमोऽध्यायः विभूतियोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया न मे विदुःसुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वसः।
Krishna is called Vibhuti Yoga now. What does Vibhuti Yoga now mean? Means the divine manifestation of from unmanifested root. That means Arupa. God is Arupa. He is, nobody can describe what God looks like. So from Arupa to Rupa he takes. So it is called Vibhuti Yoga Nama. You know, Krishna addresses Arjuna as Mahabhava. Why? Why does he have to answer and to call him Mahabhava? Because he was a mighty warrior. He could fight, he could defeat anybody in this world. He is so brave and so strong. He says, "You mighty armed Arjuna, since you are keen to know this knowledge, you want to know my Brahma Rupa, my Vishwa Rupa, I will disclose this knowledge to you." Because he was a sincere student. He wanted to learn sincerely from Lord Krishna. Now you know children, there are three categories of students. The first category of the student is very arrogant and very egoistic. He thinks he knows everything. He goes to a teacher and tries to expose his knowledge arrogantly, egoistically. The second kind of students are the ones who go to the teacher to test the teacher, whether she has knowledge or not. And the third category of students are like Arjuna, who go there humbly and try to learn from the Guru, from the teacher, from the master. So he says, "Oh Mahabaho, listen to me. I will show you my supreme Vishwa Rupa. I will give you my word. I will speak to you who are always delighted to hear about me," is the first verse. Now children, I can't go word by word because I told you it will take me 15 to 20 minutes to go slow and steady. So the first verse it is said, "I'm very glad, oh Arjuna, you are the best student who has no ego, no arrogance, who want to learn from me." And in the second verse he says, "Nobody knows me properly. Then who will know me? Who will know you, God?" Arjuna asks. He says that are the gods. You know, the different forms of power is given a name gods. But they are not complete. Why? Neither there are so many sages who know my origin, but they don't know I am the source of them. They don't know my original form. How will I come to know my original form? Only by meditating, concentrating and merging in me, becoming one with Brahma, then you will know the true nature of God. This is what he is trying to explain to them. That is how the great sages like Vishwamitra, Vasishtha, Valmiki, you don't know what Valmiki means. Valmiki means the one who was covered with a heap of ant, what do you call that? Ant soil, that red soil that is there. They built an entire ants had built there over him, and he was known as Valmiki. And that is how that severe was his penance, that severe was his concentration, and he could merge with God and understand the knowledge, and that's how he wrote Ramayana. Now, how many of you are concentrating when your teacher tells you? How many of first category, second category, and third category students? You always try to disturb the teachers. Some of you always like to make fun, and then you think it's great fun to laugh and joke in the class when the teacher is seriously teaching. Children, one day the world will laugh at you. When your knowledge is poor, when you are not up to the standard, when you don't come up in life, when you don't have any ambition to learn and come up, then you will, same way the world will laugh at you the way you laughed at your teachers. Okay? Let me tell you a small story from Shiv Purana. There was a very good Brahmin by name Dharmadatta. Very pious. So was his wife. Day and night, they used to worship Shiva. They used to make small Shivlingams. All the Hindus will know what is Shivlinga. And they used to make it out of black soil, 108. And every day they used to worship Shiva and throw the same Shivling into the river. They go on praying for years and years together, but they have no child. The wife gets perturbed. Hey Shiva, I pray to you so much. How come I don't have a child? I must have a child of my own. But she doesn't get one child. She remains as she is. Then she decides to get a husband married to a younger sister. And she says, at least she will give me a son or a daughter, whatever it is. And she goes and opens her heart to her husband and tells him that I want you to get married to my younger sister so that we can have a child at home. Husband says, gone mad. I've gone very old, I can't. I don't want to marry at this age. I'm already past my age. What are you trying to do? Anyway, she determines herself, goes to her parents' house and requests them to see that her younger sister is married to her husband. Somehow, she gets her married to him and they have a son. Fortunately or unfortunately, this small child loves his stepmother a lot. He loves her. He goes running to her wherever she is. He sits when she is doing puja. She sits when she is cooking. And the own mother feels very jealous that my own son, I gave birth to him and he is not loving me so much as my sister. Anyway, days passed. She wants to kill him. I will get rid of him so that no, I don't have to be jealous and let my sister suffer the agony of separation, the way I am suffering. He is 19 years old by the time she decides, gets him married, and one night she decides to kill him. At that time the husband gets the heart attack and he dies. Oh, now she says, oh God, now my path is clear. I can do what I like. And after the 10-day ceremony, one night, she gets up, goes and kills him into pieces, cuts him into pieces, and quietly goes and sleeps in her bedroom. Nobody knows that he is dead. And here the poor mother, the stepmother, who is doing puja, she prays to Shiva, thanking him every minute for giving me such a beautiful son. Morning comes, she takes that shivling to throw it into the water. And here the wife gets up and she starts wailing and crying and crying, gesturing. Anyway, this mother goes to the riverside. As she throws the shivling into the water, she sees her own son of 19-year-old coming out of the water. She says, son, what are you doing here? She says, Mom, you don't know what has happened to me. My own mother killed me into pieces. But Lord Shiva put his hand. It was someone else she killed, and not me. He carried me and brought me to this riverside. And he said that when your mother comes, go back home. And this is how the devotion is. What is the message from this story is the devotion. That mother's love was so strong, so great, that she could evoke Lord Shiva and he could come running to her and to help that boy to be saved. If your devotion is that strong and that highly concentrated, then God will make you achieve anything that you want in life. Thank you, children. God bless you.